Kick off the holiday season early this year with the Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra's performance of Handel's Messiah. Don't miss your chance to experience one of the most performed classical pieces of music worldwide. Make it your new favorite holiday tradition and join the WCO and the Festival Choir of Madison at Bethel Lutheran Church. That's on November 21st at 7 p.m. and November 22nd at 2 p.m. Tickets are available at wcoconcerts.org/Messiah. This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about.
Today, it's Thursday, so of course it's time to dish on Madison's food and bar scene. I am executive producer Haley Sperling, sitting in for your host Bianca Martin, and we are just a week away from Thanksgiving, y'all, which means for a lot of us, we're thinking about how to feed groups of people, be it large, small, or somewhere in between. And joining me today to dig into all of these options and share some hot tips for the season is my favorite local foodie, Cap Times food and culture editor, Lindsay Christians. Hi, Lindsay.
Hello.
Welcome. Are you excited? Are you a Thanksgiving girly? I learned recently that you are not a Halloween girly, so I'm learning new things about you all the time.
I am not a Halloween girly. I love Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is like the biggest food holiday of the year. We do kind of a Friendsgiving because I don't live near family. And it was funny. My one friend this year was like, what if we do like an international thing where everybody brings a dish from a different cuisine? And I was immediately like, No,
really?
No. You can do that any other day of the year.
Fair.
But Thanksgiving, I'm doing the classic Thanksgiving. Any other day of the year, we can do the international foods from anywhere and have a lot of fun and do something. But I like your sort of Norman Rockwell Thanksgiving.
A purist at heart, an American traditionalist. I love it. All right. Well, we are going to dig into all of this and more. So we're going to break this conversation up into two parts. The first being options for group meals that have nothing to do with Thanksgiving, right? Like we said, it's around the corner, but we'll be feeding groups of people all year round. And then we will get into your favorite turkey adjacent offerings. So let's dig right into this. I want to kick things off by talking about one of downtown's newest food options, which is downtown Madison just saw the opening of its first food hall, One Social. What can you tell us about One Social, Lindsay? Who's in there? And also, like, what the heck is a food hall to begin with?
So the way that I define a food hall, and I do think that this is sort of an important distinction because we've had food courts and things like that forever. Usually there's a bar at a food hall, in my mind, right? A food hall is indoors. And generally in a food hall, there are different owners of the different things. So like at the Wisconsin Union, for example, it's all owned by the union, right? They might have like slightly different staff for the different spots, but different owners. So a food hall, it's like a food court, but like slightly higher end, usually, I think. But in this particular case, One Social is owned and operated by Main Street Ventures, which is a company out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. So 3 of the brands inside of it are also Main Street Ventures brands, which is one of them is Real Seafood Company. One of them is called Casey's Tavern. And the third one is Paleo, which is pizza and pasta. They have a Neapolitan style, like wood burning oven kind of thing that's like brick. So those are kind of 3 of them. And then there's also Signora Machetes, which is one of the folks from Signora Machetes, just right nearby downtown, and is doing those similar. They look kind of like a cross between like a quesadilla and a dosa. They're like these long, skinny quesadilla looking things, and they have like all the Mexican American classic dishes there, like burritos and fajitas and stuff like that.
I love it. Yeah, the machetes, the machete itself, like those are the long things.
Yeah, but it's kind of on the ground floor of a big apartment building. It's called 109, and the thing that I noticed at first when I went in there, like the first thing that we saw was just the view of the lake, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, it's a really good view of the lake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say I took myself on a little reporting trip over the weekend. So I went to One Social so I could get ready for this conversation with you. And that is so real. We've said it on the show before. Madison, for being an isthmus, is just so lacking lakefront dining. And of course, this is not right on the lake. You know, there's still John Nolan separating you from that actual beachfront vibes, but like it's pretty darn close, and it really does kind of live up to that hype, I thought.
Yeah, the view is really pretty. It's going to have a lot of patio seating. And apparently, so the One Social Food Hall is right next to One Prime and Blue Jack. Blue Jack is a cocktail bar. One Prime is the steakhouse. That opened like just this past week. So really recently. So it's really nice. The apartments themselves are luxury apartments above, as you would expect. They're expensive. But the way that they have that pass through, so if you're on East Wilson, you can see all the way to the lake, is pretty cool. Like there's like an opening part in between kind of the two buildings where the steakhouse is and then where the food hall is.
Yeah, I remember the developers when they pitched this building with the apartments and with the food hall, they're like, we want this to be a connector between the lake and downtown. And I was like, good luck, I'll believe it when I see it. But like, I kind of do believe it now that I have seen it. I'm like, they actually kind of followed through here. And it's very nice that, you know, we don't have any sort of spot like this before.
Yeah. And the pass through is it was just like an old office building with a garage there before. It was not visible before. So that's kind of nice. Yeah. And we need more housing.
We always, oh my God, Lindsay, have you listened to the show lately? We need more housing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I mean, I went over there this weekend because I wanted to see what this place was all about. And like, it's definitely well suited for groups of truly any size. I saw friend groups who were sharing a meal around a big table. I saw young families who were like meeting up with grandparents, some casual bar vibes. And it feels kind of wild to me, and I'm wondering if it feels kind of wild to you that, like, we really haven't had a spot like this in downtown Madison before. You know, of course, we have the unions, but those are definitely more geared towards students. But this seems like the introduction of kind of an interesting sort of third space in the downtown scene.
So, yeah, I think the food really seems geared toward, I need to run out of my office and grab a bowl of something. Or I'm like, we're downtown and we're doing a conference at Monona Terrace or whatever. And we need to like run out. And this has something that everybody can have. The thing that I love about food halls, and I love food halls, is that I can go and I can get like a little bit here, a little bit there. And that's fun, you know? So I think the cool thing with the food hall and the nice thing is that like I can go with maybe somebody who is like slightly less adventurous with their eating, and I can still get to try something fun and interesting, and they can still like have a burger.
Yeah. The range is wide.
Yeah, the range is wide. And I think maybe part of the reason we haven't had a food hall like this before in downtown Madison is because people were getting that need met by the food carts, for one. And also it's a space thing. Like this is a big space. And there are not a lot of big spaces that like where you have like shared space, I guess, in downtown. At least I don't think so.
Well, that's like what I was saying. Yeah, you know, it's kind of like we don't have those third spaces downtown. I mean, that's the thing. One Social is downtown's first food hall, but it's not Madison's first food hall. There is the Global Food Mart near Easttown Mall that's got a pretty robust offering. Can you tell us a little bit about that and like, you know, how people did take to that concept of food hall? Because that was, if I'm not mistaken, the first food hall in Madison.
I'm pretty sure. So yeah, the Global Market and Food Hall, I think opened in like 2019, 2020, like around there. It might have opened in 2020 because like I didn't get to like actually go in there and write all about it until quite a while after it had opened. And I think it was because of COVID. But anyway, so I love the Global Market and Food Hall. I went there with a couple colleagues several years ago, not long after it had opened. And we had food from every single spot in there. And we tried different things and we like combined, and like other things have opened and things have closed since then. But there's a good variety at that place. And so it's one huge building. Now it's half grocery, mostly Chinese products, I would say. I did go in trying to get Korean snacks a little while ago for my nephews and struggled a bit. So it's much more, I think, Chinese ingredients. And you can get some things from other places too, but like that's the strength. And then there's a huge like fish counter. You can get like frozen and fresh fish, which is very fun. And like cool produce and things as well. And then the food hall part, like some of the vendors in the food hall will like take a fish that you get from the fish market and then they'll cook it for you.
Oh my God, I love that.
Thing, which is
dinner and a show.
Yes. So that's really fun. But there's Glazed, which does these like little mochi donuts that I freaking love. Poke Me is like in the back corner. of the food hall. That is maybe my favorite. Like, I really love the Hmong stall as well, the Hmong booth stall. Hmong Kitchen. Hot Co has really good noodles, and they are often like sampling them. If you go like on a weekend, you can like taste the Hot Co noodles, and it's like you can get like a little snack while you're getting your other stuff. That's really fun. And so I like to like go and like order at Poke Me and get my banh mi or whatever I'm getting, and then I like to like get a little mochi donut. There's a Mexican, like Tex-Mex. A-Rods does like Tex-Mex there. But, you know, it's really fun. You can go and you can get like different kinds of pho, different kinds of ramen, which is really fun to do. And there's sushi. There's like beautiful baked goods, like gorgeous baked goods. So it's fun. And like definitely a place where like one person can get like the pho from over here and one person can get hot pot or whatever. And it's delightful. It's really fun.
Yeah, that's like, it sounds like sort of just a choose your own adventure, right? But food coded and there's no losing.
Yes, exactly right. And there's like a lot of fun things to try. And I feel like a lot of those spots are also doing things that you can get like larger quantities of and bring home. So I think Holasac Taste of Africa has opened a stall there now, like a little location there. But like there are things that you can like where they're selling like larger quantities, like at Hmong Kitchen, they sell like larger quantities of like the sauces that they do, and you can bring them home with you. So you can like go to the grocery, get a little lunch, and then bring some stuff home for later.
That's so good because you never want to grocery shop hungry, and I always grocery shop hungry. So this I feel like kills two birds with one stone, or one bowl of pho.
One bowl of pho, exactly right. It's a really fun place, I think, to grab lunch. It's like it's the best place to stop, obviously, if you're at the mall for any reason. At the mall, like in the next couple of months, we might be at the mall shopping for
just putting some predictions out there. You might be at the mall.
You might be at the mall. So if you are, Global Market and Food Hall is like the best place to go for a quick lunch. I will say, like, the vibe is a little like industrial lighting, you know, it's like the fluorescence and stuff. So it's like not the most like aesthetically pleasing place to eat, but that's fine. Like I enjoy it.
Sure. And I mean, too, even with that, you know, even the vibe at One Social, Bianca had said earlier in a past Friday News Roundup that she was looking at photos and she's like, it's giving sort of like airport. And it's like, it's kind of like airport loungy, you know, like if you get to pay to go to the Delta Sky Club or whatever it's called, that's what it kind of feels like to me. And I mean, no disrespect, right? I had a great time there, but and maybe this is just due to the fact that it just opened. I would love to see a little bit more art on the walls.
Yeah.
Again, maybe some tactfully placed area rugs just to like give it a little bit more warmth, right?
Yeah. I think like I don't have the Delta Lounge experience to draw upon, but like I was thinking like corporate, like hotel. And there are restaurants that you'll go to now where you're like, oh, this could be anywhere. I could be anywhere.
Yeah.
And like one of the things that I always loved about like just like in that area, like Oz by Oz and Settle Down, is they feel very specific to the people who opened them and the place that they are, you know?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And just Madison specifically. And maybe that's something, too, that One Social will have to figure out in its niche and when it adds new folks to the mix of the food hall. And, you know, you had mentioned it before that food halls, obviously, these are not a new concept. They're popping up in neighboring cities like Milwaukee and Chicago and the Twin Cities. And it feels almost like Madison itself is sort of on the cusp of a food hall renaissance, would you say? And I'm curious, you know, like, are we getting there? Are we getting to that tipping point? And also, why has it taken Madison so long to get on this food hall train?
I think it's got to be a quantity of people thing, because I feel like food halls are something that I see and I enjoy when I go to larger cities. So Crossroads was my favorite food hall in Milwaukee, and it closed. There was a great Time Out food hall in Miami Beach, and they closed, I think, earlier this year or last year. So I think maybe they can be tougher to sustain for the similar kind of reasons why like the farmers market / food hall kind of place in Toledo closed. It was like a public market of the style that Madison is about to be opening. And it did not take off, in part because there was not enough support for the individual vendors and they weren't getting enough foot traffic. So a place like where One Social is going to get good foot traffic. I don't know how the foot traffic is going to be at the Madison Public Market, but like obviously they're going to try to do something similar. The Milwaukee Public Market gets great traffic to it. And a lot of those businesses seem to be thriving, at least from the outside. So the Milwaukee Public Market, though, is like a combination of a place where you would go to get like groceries and things and like something for your lunch or your dinner. Whereas like somewhere like One Social is just a lunch or dinner.
Yeah,
right?
It's you're just eating here. There's no grocery store in there, or
There's
you're getting
no
a drink. The bar looked pretty nice, I will say.
The bar
I
did look cute, right? The bar looks cute.
Someone was drinking a martini that looked really yummy.
And especially like if you're trying to like show off the lake to somebody who's visiting, you know, it's nice to be able to do that. So I think that it's challenging because you have to build out those individual spaces. So recently I was reporting on a story that I thought was like a nice, fun story about a food hall opening in Middleton. And then I found myself reporting a story about foreclosure. And I was like, this is less fun. But that food hall that was said to be open in like 2020, 2021, that building's now in foreclosure in Middleton. And one of the things they were talking about is like the cost needed to put in like the hood and the appliances and everything for each of those vendors to be able to vend. There's several open spots you may have noticed in One Social. One of them doesn't have a hood. So that one closest to the street, there's no hood there. So like you can do cold pressed juices, you could do ice cream maybe, you could do sushi. And one of the other sort of vending open spaces looks like it's designed for a coffee shop or a, you know, coffee program. So neither of those has like a hood. So you can't, there's a limit to the kind of cooking that you can do inside there, right?
Sure. So it does depend on the actual space that's provided. I'm very curious to see about the sustainability of the One Social food hall. And once the public market opens up in 2026, I'm going to say, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that's a story that we're watching next year, right?
Yeah. I feel like the public market is an interesting case because I feel like I've been reporting on it now for like 15 years or something. Like it feels like so long. And so every time I go back to do a story about it again, I'm like, hi, here I am again. How are things? You know,
we're
like what's
excited.
new? I am just hopeful because it sounds like such a wonderful project. And I think some of the people involved are just like wonderful humans. And I'm really, I want nothing but good things. But I'm also like cautiously optimistic.
We're rooting for you.
Yeah.
Quietly, cautiously, but also openly, loudly. Please, we're rooting for you. I love it. I love it.
Please work.
Imagine what it would be like to not be able to afford to put a meal on your table this Thanksgiving. Too many of our neighbors don't have to imagine. That's their reality. With rising food prices and cuts to food aid programs, food insecurity is a crisis in Madison. That's why Goodman Community Center runs the annual Thanksgiving Basket Drive. They're giving 4,000 families in our community all the groceries they need to cook a delicious Thanksgiving dinner at home. Everything from gravy, veggies, stuffing, dessert, and of course, the turkey. But they need our help to collect all the food and funds needed to fill all of those 4,000 baskets. If you can afford to do so, go to goodmancenter.org/Thanksgiving and learn how you can help. You can donate food, start a food drive, or donate funds. Together, we can ensure that thousands of our friends and neighbors have a joyful Thanksgiving. Are you going to the finest young professionals party of the year? Madison Magnet is Dane County's premier young professionals organization, and they aim to give members a place to connect, collaborate, and develop. And their big annual event is just around the corner. The Magnet Fete is a night of fun and philanthropy with other young professionals in the Madison area. It will feature a wine bowl and a raffle with prizes, including show tickets, gift cards, and other great items. This year's fete benefits Second Harvest Food Bank of Southern Wisconsin. Tickets are on sale now. Tickets start at $75. You do not want to miss this fun and fabulous night. The fete will also be the full unveiling and celebration of Magnet's merger with the Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce, where you can learn more about what that all entails for them as an organization and you as a member. Get tickets today at madisonmagnet.org/magnetfete.
Guess what? CityCast has some news. I'm Sean McPherson, the host of CityCast Twin Cities.
And I'm Jane Sihu, and I'm the host of CityCast Seattle. Hey, if you have a friend in one of our cities, can you text them for us?
Yeah, something, simple like, hey, how's that rash doing? And do you listen to podcasts? because I have one you're definitely going to like. After that, tell them that CityCast has helped you become more informed, more involved, and more connected to your amazing city.
We're going to help that person you know in Seattle who's been trying to make friends.
And we're also going to do that for that guy you only kind of knew in college who moved back to the Twin Cities after graduation.
Don't we all have that guy?
Yeah, and usually that guy is named Todd.
So did you text them yet?
Jane, let's just wait a minute. We don't want to rush anybody. We'll do a little small talk. How's everything going in Seattle?
Beautiful, beautiful. Fall leaves popping. How about Twin Cities?
Today, beautiful and sunshiny in St. Paul. Okay, Jane, I bet they are done texting by now, and I just want to remind them, hey, you, please tell that friend to subscribe to CityCast Twin Cities or Seattle, wherever you get your podcasts.
Or if you don't want to text them and you're really just on Instagram sending them DMs all the time with like funny videos, send them a DM of our latest videos. You can find us at CityCast Twin Cities or CityCast Seattle on Instagram. Thanks.
All right. Well, now that we have fed our people full leading up to Thanksgiving, giving them all of these options of where to go, especially once they're getting their shopping done, let's talk about the holiday itself. And I'm looking for some of your hot tips for just about everyone that's on the list. So I want to give just a couple of situations, and you can give me a local tip for that scenario. So starting off with one that I'm sure a lot of us will be familiar with, you just mentioned Friendsgiving. I love Friendsgiving, honestly, more than the real holiday. That's a whole episode in itself. But let's say maybe you are a guest at an upcoming Thanksgiving or an upcoming Friendsgiving, and you're asked to bring a side, but maybe you're not such a confident cook. Do you have thoughts about where folks can go to get these Thanksgiving dishes? Bonus points if they're local.
Yes. So if you want to purchase a side dish, my top is always going to be Pasture and Plenty on the west side. Pasture and Plenty is like, they originally started as like doing like CSA 2.0, right? They source a lot from local farms. So they're doing a bunch of stuff this year for Thanksgiving. And I think you can order like all of it individually. And they're doing a Native November cheese board thing. With
Love
like,
that.
Yeah, there's like blue corn cookies and rice crackers made by wild berries. There's bison Landjaeger and like maple glazed hazelnuts and different cheeses. It looks just absolutely lovely. So they're doing a bunch of sides that you can just purchase, and they're also doing like those little like app kind of like a charcuterie board kind of starter things, which is kind of nice to bring. Mm-hmm. And so I really like them. Branch and Daughter in Windsor is also doing pickup of like sides and things. So butternut squash bisque and stuffing and yams and root vegetables. You can just, I feel like there are lots of lovely options for all these lovely fall flavors, you know? The nice thing, too, about some of these things is that you can like look and see like, okay, I know somebody's already taken care of the turkey, but can I get these side dishes? You should go to captimes.com. Nicole Hazy did a beautiful roundup of like all these different spots, but those were two that I really like.
Okay, well, we're leaning a little bit into the sweetness of things. What about desserts? I love a pumpkin pie. Where are we shopping locally for dessert trays?
So I almost always buy dessert for Thanksgiving because I'm cooking all of the rest of it, right? So I almost always like bring a dessert. I really love the bourbon pecan pie that they do at Madison Sourdough. I'm kind of a huge fan of that. They also do a lovely apple pie. We either get desserts from Madison Sourdough or we've gotten them from Bloom. Bloom does a really pretty like fall themed cakes that are like a little bit of a layer cake, and they're really pretty and just delicious. And Batch Bakehouse is like my other go-to. I love the desserts at Batch. They almost always do like a tart cherry, like kind of dessert, like delicious tart cherry pie. I know we've done that from them before. And I think they usually do a pumpkin pie as well. Usually pumpkin pie is pretty easy to find. The pro tip, though, with these desserts that you pre-order, Pasture and Plenty does desserts like galettes and stuff like that from Tarte, which is a local brand of like kind of freezer desserts, basically, but they're locally made. The key thing is ordering early and like knowing when your pickup time is. So like if you're hearing this today, do it now. Like right now,
yes.
If you know you're not going to want to bake. And I will also say, my husband really loves the Ina Garten chocolate mousse with Grand Marnier.
Oh,
and so
wow.
some years for Thanksgiving, I also do like a dark chocolate mousse with the orange liqueur.
Okay, wow, can I come over? Can we do that this year?
It's really good. And the cool thing is you make them like the day before and they set up. So you just bring them cold. And it's easy. Yeah.
It's basically like set it and forget it, right?
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, what if you are like not really a Thanksgiving celebration person? Like, is there anywhere open for folks who can just get food, on Thanksgiving, around Thanksgiving, places that are open?
Yes, for sure. So Nicole put a list, I think, of maybe 6 places. Los Delis de Agua, La Delis de Agua, I should say. Silk Road over on Park Street is going to be open. He just did a cool renovation and updated the menu. So if you haven't been into Silk Road, that place is super cute and delicious food. Taste of Sichuan is open. Hot Pot 608. Rajni Indian cuisine, they do South Indian food, which is kind of fun. And Ruyi hand-pulled noodle is also open on Thanksgiving. That is not traditional Thanksgiving food. I will also say, if you want to just go and eat out on Thanksgiving and you're I don't want to deal with cooking or whatever, the Great Dane's always open. So any Great Dane location is always open. Quibby's Grove is open. And there's places too Cooper's Hawk out in Middleton, which is I think a chain, but they are doing their full menu in addition to Thanksgiving food. So,
okay, so a little twofer, one for everyone.
Yeah, so you can go and get something that's not necessarily turkey or ham. You know?
Sure. Hey, I mean, that's the whole theme of this conversation, right? Is there different tastes for different people, and that's just fine. Just fine.
I will also say a lot of chain restaurants are open on Thanksgiving. So if you just want some quick food or whatever, the thing about chain restaurants and the reason that we don't always put them in the roundup is that the hours and the being open is not uniform across, it's not all Arby's are open necessarily. Your Applebee's might be open or it might not. So that's one where you do kind of need to call and just be hey, are you guys open? To check.
And that's so fair. Got to do a little bit of the legwork. Nicole has already done a lot of it, though. We will definitely be throwing a link to her roundup in our show notes. Our dear newsletter editor, Rob Thomas, has also put together a roundup of Thanksgiving food options for folks that we will put in our show notes. But this brings me to my last question. And this is really a just for fun question, Lindsay, because I have the privilege of asking you whatever questions I want today. What do you think is the most underrated Thanksgiving dish, something that you wish you saw on more tables? And this could be traditional Thanksgiving vibe, or this could be something that you have done all the time and you're everyone else should be doing this.
I mean, I am very, very partial to the stuffing that I do every year. And it is from Bon Appetit 2009, Molly Weisenberg. It is a winter squash, Tuscan kale, cheddar, savory bread pudding, basically. Ooh. It is you make this thing and it weighs it could kill somebody. It's really heavy, but it is so, so good. Vegetarian friendly, which I love about it, but it's really hearty. It could be a beautiful vegetarian main if you wanted to just skip the turkey. I love that stuffing. I recommend it. I recommend it every year. Some years I've been I'm going to do something different. And then I always come back to it. It's so good. So I love that. I will also say my hot take is that it's lovely to have a little cheese puff or a little something slightly cheesy and carby, because at my Thanksgiving, people start drinking right away.
Sure.
Right?
Probably at a lot of Wisconsin Thanksgivings.
Yes. And I like to get the 6-pack, the Thanksgiving 6-pack from Table Wine. That's where my usual go-to. But still, people are drinking as soon as they get to the house. And so I want to have some kind of food to put in their hands right away. And
Absolutely.
a little, a cheese puff or something like that is perfect.
Keep the stomachs full, keep the eyes looking at the table. I love it. Lindsay, this has been a very nourishing conversation.
Yay! Thank you.
That's Lindsay Christians, food and culture editor at the Cap Times. That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm executive producer Haley Sperling, filling in for your host Bianca Martin. Don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. If you enjoyed today's show, why not share this episode with someone who likes to share food? Because we know sharing is caring. And while we're at it, like we said, share this show. Help us grow. Spread the word about CityCast Madison. It really makes a difference for us. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more stories from around the city. Until next time, take good care. Thanks for listening and hope you eat well this season.